AnnyeongBuzz. Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into K-pop stories that make you say, wait, what really happened? Today's story might shock you a little, especially if you're a once. Because it turns out, Twice almost wasn't Twice. Yep, one of the most iconic girl groups in K-pop history almost lost one of its brightest members before debut. And not just one, but two. Sana recently revealed something that's been hidden behind her sweet smile all these years, and it's honestly both heartbreaking and inspiring at the same time. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about how Sana almost gave up on her dream, how Momo almost joined her, and how that one moment could have changed K-pop history forever. Alright, let's rewind to the time before Twice even existed, back when Sana was still a trainee under JYP Entertainment. In a recent episode of the SBS show Whenever Possible, Sana and Jihyo appeared as special guests. At first, it seemed like it was going to be a typical fun variety appearance, full of laughter, cute stories, and behind-the-scenes moments. But then, Sana dropped a bombshell that made fans stop scrolling and really listen. She revealed that there was a point during her trainee days when she hit rock bottom. She said she was so overwhelmed, so mentally and emotionally exhausted, that she actually planned to run away. Yes, run away. Not just metaphorically give up, but literally sneak out of the dorms, take her suitcase, and disappear back to Japan without telling anyone. Sana, the bubbly, confident, radiant idol we see today, once standing in the dark, quietly trying to figure out how to roll her suitcase without making a sound so nobody would hear her. That image alone is so powerful because it shows us something we rarely see. The real cost behind the glitz and glamour of becoming a K-pop idol. She said she even thought about how to make her escape quiet, like how to move without waking anyone up, how to take her luggage without it rattling, but her plan failed before it even began. Why? Because she realized that her passport was being held by the company. That's right, trainees often have their important documents kept by the agency for safety and control reasons. And that meant for Sana, she couldn't leave even if she wanted to. When she told that story, the audience laughed, and even Sana herself laughed while recalling it. But if you really think about it, it's not funny, it's heartbreaking. Because what kind of pain or stress pushes a young girl, far from home, surrounded by competition, unable to speak the language fluently, to think about escaping in the middle of the night? And here's the twist. She wasn't alone in that plan. Sana revealed that Momo almost ran away with her. That's right, Twice's iconic dance queen Momo also felt the same kind of pressure and hopelessness back then. They both considered giving it all up and returning to Japan together. That honestly gave me chills. Because imagine, just imagine if both of them had left. Twice, the group that gave us Cheer Up, TT, What Is Love, and so many unforgettable hits, might never have been the same. Twice without Sana's charm, without Momo's dance power? It's hard to picture, right? But that's exactly what makes this story so emotional. Because behind every successful K-pop idol, there are countless moments of self-doubt, loneliness, and exhaustion that we as fans rarely see. And you know what? This moment also tells us something very real about how brutal the trainee life can be. People often say being a trainee is like living in a pressure cooker. You're constantly being evaluated. Your looks, your singing, your dancing, your attitude. Every day feels like an audition, and one wrong move could end your dream. Now let's not forget, Sana and Momo were just teenagers at the time. They left their families in Japan, moved to a country where everything was new and unfamiliar, and had to adjust to an extremely competitive system. Even for adults, that would be overwhelming. But for young girls chasing a dream, it's beyond tough. And yet they stayed. Somehow they pushed through. And that's something I really admire. Because that moment when Sana decided not to leave, whether it was because she couldn't get her passport, or maybe deep down she still had a spark of hope, that was the moment that changed everything. Let's pause here for a second, buzzers. I want you to think about this. How many of us have had moments where we just wanted to give up? Maybe on school, on work, or even on something we love, because it just felt too hard. But what if, just like Sana, that one decision to keep going, even when you feel like you can't, becomes the turning point of your life? Sana and Momo could have gone home, and no one would have blamed them. But by staying, they not only changed their lives, they changed the face of K-pop. Because look where they are now. Twice is one of the biggest girl groups in the world. They've toured across continents, sold millions of albums, and inspired millions of fans globally. Sana and Momo, in particular, have become role models for perseverance. When you see them on stage now, laughing, glowing, performing flawlessly, it's easy to forget that these smiles were once built on tears. But that's what makes their success so meaningful. It's not just about talent or luck, it's about resilience. And this also makes me wonder about how many other idols have been in that same position. How many stories like Sana's exist out there, untold, hidden behind perfect performances and bright stage lights? We often celebrate the achievements, but rarely acknowledge the emotional journey it takes to get there. In fact, I think this story reminds us, as fans, to be more compassionate, to remember that idols are human too. They're not just entertainers. They're young people dealing with pressure, criticism, homesickness, and constant expectations. Sana's story isn't just a confession, it's a message, a reminder that even our idols struggle, and that strength sometimes means just staying when you really want to run. And honestly, it's also kind of wild to think how much destiny played a role here. Because think about it, if JYP hadn't kept her passport, Twice might have never existed in the form we know today. It's like one small decision, one tiny random circumstance, changed the entire course of music history. Imagine a world where Sana went home that night. No TT, no likey, no feel special. Twice might have been an 8-member group, or maybe never even debuted at all, since the chemistry and balance we know today might not have worked the same way. And speaking of feel special, doesn't it hit differently now? That song, which talks about finding comfort and strength when you feel invisible or unworthy, it feels like it came from a very personal place. Sana once said that song means a lot to her, and now we can see why. It's kind of poetic, really. The girl who once wanted to run away ended up becoming one of the faces of a song that gives hope to millions who feel like giving up. Full circle moment, right? But here's another layer to think about. Gio, who was also in that Whenever Possible episode with Sana, trained for 10 years before debuting. 10. That's an entire childhood spent training for something that might never happen. So it's no wonder that Twice's bond is so strong. They didn't just train together, they survived together. Sana, Momo, and Gio's experiences remind us that K-pop isn't just about music or visuals. It's about grit, teamwork, and emotional endurance. Now, buzzers, I want to throw this question to you. What do you think would have happened if Sana and Momo actually went back to Japan? Would Twice still have debuted as 9? Would JP have found replacements? And would Twice still have reached the same level of global success without them? Personally, I don't think so. Because Sana and Momo bring something irreplaceable to the group. Their warmth, their humor, their chemistry. Twice's balance comes from how each member complements the others. It's like a puzzle. Take one piece out, and it's just not complete. That's why the title of the news, Twice Almost Wasn't Complete, hits so hard. Because it's true. They almost weren't. And that makes us appreciate them even more. And I also think this story shows how JYP's trainee system, while strict, also shapes incredibly resilient artists. It's not easy, and maybe sometimes too harsh, but it does produce idols who can handle the weight of fame. Still, I hope this serves as a reminder for entertainment companies to also prioritize mental health, because even the strongest person can break under too much pressure. Sana's honesty in sharing this now, years later, is also really brave. It takes courage to look back at your most vulnerable moment and talk about it publicly. She didn't have to share that story. She could have just kept it to herself. But by opening up, she's probably helped countless young people, not just aspiring idols, who are struggling to keep going. It's kind of beautiful when you think about it. The girl who once felt weak enough to quit has become strong enough to inspire others not to. So the next time you see Sana smiling, dancing, and joking around with the members, remember, that smile was earned. Every performance, every fan meeting, every laugh we see today, it's built on years of tears, fear, and courage. And maybe that's why Twice connects so deeply with their fans. Because beyond the music, They represent something so human, the idea that you can fall, doubt yourself, and still rise. Buzzers, I want to hear your thoughts on this one. Were you surprised by Sana's confession? Did you ever imagine that she and Momo almost left before debut? And how do you feel knowing Twice might have been totally different if they had gone through with it? Let's talk in the comments. I really want to know what you think. Because for me, this story is more than just a what if. It's a reminder that sometimes the hardest moments are what shape us the most. And if you're watching this and you're going through something tough, maybe you're exhausted, maybe you're doubting yourself, remember Sana's story. Remember that she once stood where you are now, thinking it was the end, when in reality, it was just the beginning of something incredible. All right, Buzzers, that's it for today's deep dive. Twice Sana almost gave up, but fate had other plans. And because of that, we got one of the most iconic girl groups in K-pop history. So let's take a moment to appreciate her strength, Momo's loyalty, and the journey that made Twice who they are today. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to AnnyeongBuzz for more K-pop deep dives, behind-the-scenes stories, and discussions that go beyond the headlines. And remember, sometimes the moments when you feel like running away are the ones right before something amazing happens. Thanks for watching, Buzzers, and I'll see you in the next video.